Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise account. I'm Griffin Aldridge, and we got some breaking news. JD Davison has signed with the Rockets. He's signed a two-way contract with the Houston Rockets, and I couldn't be any more but happy for JD Davison. Um, Seamus and I and everyone honestly, were talking about how this could come kind of with some punishment at the end of free agency because the market isn't so open, but this is a great move for JD Davison. I'm devastated to see him leave the Boston Celtics. However, I'm happy that he's going with the Rockets. That's a team where, he could show he's something, and that's a team where they're kind of thin at the point guard position. I mean, Fred VanVleet is their only on roster point guard. You have a lot of guards there, that could do shooting guard, point guard, but Fred VanVleet is only main position point guard. So this is where JD Davison could potentially show his talents and be on a competitive team. And this is a team where there's some rumors that they could be up there for championships. Obviously, just getting Kevin Durant from a trade too. So I mean, the future is bright for JD Davison with the Houston Rockets, and I'm nothing more but proud for him because obviously you see that the Boston Celtics opened up that roster spot. They're at 14 roster spots now, so they can make a move. So, still no news on that. There's some Ben Simmons talk. That's all I'm hearing right now. But other than that, I'm just so happy for JD Davison. I feel like this is an organization where he can really go out there and prove himself. He could show that he could potentially be an option on this Houston Rockets team. So it just looks bright for JD Davison. The future looks bright and promising, and I'm nothing more but happy with him. Again, we talked about this. This is another Celtics champion gone. Just before our very own eyes. I mean, the Boston Celtics just a couple of days ago waived JD Davison, and sooner rather than later, he signs a two-way contract with the Houston Rockets. I'm told that he actually has signed a two-way deal with Houston. So this looks good for JD Davison. I mean, this is a team where, again, I looked at their roster last night, and they're kind of in the same situation as the Celtics. They're just brushing themselves into a competitive team, led by Ime Udoka, who is a former Celtics coach. And you look at their team, and they're a pretty strong team. So JD Davison obviously is going to have to work his way up, but just coming off of a G League MVP, I feel like this is a guy who, I mean, he's yet to show a lot of sample size in the NBA. And I've talked about this with Daniel. I've talked about this with Seamus. I've talked about this with Andrew. I've talked about it with everyone with Celtics Talk Weekly and Celtics Nation Rise. This guy in JD Davison has not had a full lot of NBA experience. So you give him some and see what could happen. I mean, this is a Rockets team too where they have very good team basketball, and I feel like JD Davison can kind of open up and turn into a team scorer and a team player. I mean, he needs to get better with passing from what I've seen from him. Go check out our breaking news where we break down him being waived by the Boston Celtics, but this is a guy who hasn't really got opportunity off the bench. He's played a lot of garbage time minutes for the Celtics, and his sample size is very low. Obviously, a late round pick for the Boston Celtics. And this is a guy where I feel like the NBA time just needs to be there. He's proven himself in the G League, obviously coming off a G League MVP. Now you look at this and he's just ready to shine. I mean, you got to give him a chance. And I've said this, I do not want to see JD Davison go overseas without a fair chance in the NBA because obviously there could be something there could not be something there, but we've yet to see that because the sample size is just so small with JD Davison. I get it if he got an opportunity like you've seen Jordan Walsh get minutes in honestly hard playing time and like games where it's fully competitive. You've seen Walsh be thrown in there last year early in the season. Did he execute? No, not really. You've seen Shatterman get tossed in there. Obviously, he didn't have such a promising summer league, but he still proved flashes of, good, great. I want to say greatness, but he's shown flashes of being a good player, in times where with the Boston Celtics where the game's competitive. Drew Peterson, I think he even proved a little more than JD Davison, obviously against the Heat and the Cavs. But JD Davison, I can't think of a time that comes off my head where they threw him in where the game's still on the line. And that's why this is so huge for JD Davison, because this is a player who he deserves time. He deserves to be playing. I mean, the only minutes he's gotten have been garbage time for the Boston Celtics. And then other than that, JD Davison hasn't had a full sample size. I mean, you look at this again, we said this on the breaking news, go check that out. It's on the account right now, JD Davison waived. But we break that down and we're like, look, he hasn't played a lot for the Boston Celtics in the sense of it being, crunch time, like he's played a lot of garbage time minutes. And like, when they throw in the bench for 2 minutes, that's when JD Davison comes in. But this is a player who can throw down some hard dunks. He's a player who could shoot the three well. He's a player that can really control the game, at least in the G League. Again, I'm not able to say what he can do in the NBA because he hasn't been proven. I feel like that's yet to come. And it's tough with the Rockets because, again, they're a team that's pretty deep already. So it's like, all right, can you mix him in the point guard? Like what? It's just going to be interesting to see what the Rockets are going to do with JD Davison. But I'm nothing more than proud of him, happy for him that he's going to be with the Rockets. I feel like this is an organization that hopefully, they're a little thin on the point guard. Maybe they could see something in him and convert him to a standard NBA contract with them. I don't know, but I hope this is the spot where he shines. If not, who knows? Maybe he goes with another team and shines. But the Boston Celtics obviously did not see that, little spark in him that they wanted. That's why they did not play him at the NBA level. So you can't be mad at Boston because they just didn't see that out of JD, and that's why they ultimately waived him. He had 3 years in the G League, and he, brought everything to the Boston Celtics and the main Celtics in the G League. I mean, he was the heart of that team. I mean, it's going to be weird to go to a G League game this year without JD Davison being played. And it's going to be weird to see it from the fan perspective, too, because a lot of fans would go there to watch JD Davison because this is a player who can give you some good minutes. And again, I mentioned this in the waived video, so go check that out. But I was fortunate to be able to meet JD Davison a couple times. Like, we obviously, I think he knew me pretty well. So I'm just proud of him. I'm proud that he's still in the league and he got it done fast. It's not like, he's still waiting and seeing what the market could give him. He already has signed a contract with the Houston Rockets. So I'm proud of JD Davison, and I'm so excited to see what's up in the future for JD Davison. Could he potentially become a star? Who knows? The sample size is way too low to kind of figure out what he can become in the NBA. I feel like when he gets that fair chance, he's really going to dominate because this is a player who, I mean, in the G League he shines. Can we see what could happen in the NBA? Who knows? Like, again, the sample size is so low. So you gotta look at JD Davison. I'm rooting behind JD Davison because I have been a big fan of JD. I've watched JD in so many games with the main Celtics, and I've watched him ever since he's been drafted. This is a player that I've been following, and this is a player that it's gonna suck to go to main Celtics games and not see because, again, this was a fun player to watch, and I was excited because I was looking at this year and I'm like, all right, this is the one year where he could shine and show that he's something. But now, obviously, the Boston Celtics waiving him, and he's getting a chance to do that in Houston. So we'll see what's in store for JD Davison. And I look at this again. The Boston Celtics are now just under the second apron once again, and they have an open roster spot. Now, I have a question for you guys at home. With this open roster spot, do you guys see the Celtics going after Ben Simmons? It looks like he's likely to sign with the Celtics. It looks like Celtics are favorites to land him. Do you think they go after Ben Simmons? Do you think they keep this roster spot open? Because obviously, I said it in the last one, they like keeping a roster spot open for the buyout market or whatever, trade flexibility, being able to obtain a player. Do you see them keeping that roster spot open or maybe going after a Charles Bassey or Ben Simmons? But what are your guys' thoughts? Leave that in the comments down below because we have yet to see any news from the Boston Celtics. And now JD Davison is on the move to the Houston Rockets. So I'm going to flash this picture again. Congratulations, JD Davison. And again, thank you. You're an NBA champion with the Boston Celtics, so you will forever have a place in my heart. So again, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like it and subscribe, and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. Again, it's going to be crazy all off season with breaking news, so turn on that bell to be notified every time. Again, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys with the next one.